Ma'am, are you okay? Has anyone been checking on you here?
No, it's just me now. It's been that way for a long time.
Then why does this car look like no one's touched it in decades?
Because the last time this car was alive, he was still alive too.
So you kept it exactly the same all these years?
I was afraid if it changed, I wouldn't hear him anymore.
I was afraid if it changed, I wouldn't hear him anymore. And that was the first thing Evelyn said to me as she stood in the doorway in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A neck brace held her fragile posture together, her hands trembling slightly from arthritis, and her eyes carried the kind of silence you only see in people who have been alone for too long. Before anything else, comment and tell me where you were watching from, because depending on where life has taken you, this story might feel closer than you expect. She told me her name softly and pointed toward the garage, where a forgotten 1980 Chevrolet Camaro sat untouched for decades, covered in dust, time, and something much heavier than either. She said it was her husband's car, the last place they sat together before life went quiet, and she never sold it because selling it would mean accepting that he was truly gone. And she was not ready for that kind of truth. The car had been sitting there for nearly 30 years, hidden away like a memory she was afraid to revisit. The windows were fogged with age, the paint dull and tired. And inside was a smell so strong, it told a story of neglect, time, and things that had taken over in his absence. She admitted no one had touched it. Not neighbors, not family, not even herself. Because every time she tried, she felt like she was erasing him piece by piece. I asked her if I could clean it, and she hesitated. Not because she didn't want help, but because she didn't want to lose what little she still felt connected to. I told her I wouldn't erase anything. I would just bring it back to light, slowly and respectfully, like turning a page instead of closing a book. And after a long pause, she nodded, as I started washing away decades of dirt. I could see the yellow paint beginning to breathe again beneath the surface, like something waking up after a very long sleep. With every pass of water and foam, it felt less like cleaning a car and more like restoring a memory that had been buried under time. The interior was the hardest part. Layers of debris, signs of mice, nests, and years of abandonment. But even then, I worked carefully, knowing this was not just a job. This was someone's last connection to a life that used to feel full. Hours later, when the car finally stood there clean, not perfect but alive again, I stepped back and asked Evelyn to come closer. She walked slowly, one hand against the doorframe, the other holding her brace, as if preparing herself for something she wasn't sure she could handle. When she saw the car, her eyes didn't light up the way people expect. Instead, they softened, like something inside her finally exhaled. She reached out and touched the hood gently and whispered that it looked like the day he drove her home for the last time. In that moment, the car wasn't just metal anymore. It was a bridge between what she lost and what she still carried. She didn't cry loudly. She just stood there quietly remembering. And sometimes, that kind of emotion says more than anything else ever could. If this story meant something to you, take a second to like, share, and comment. Because someone out there might need to hear this today. And remember, God allows some memories to stay, not to hurt us, but to remind us that love never really leaves.